What is up? Matthew Demoy here with Friday First Reaction for April 13th, 2018. We got 21 new songs. Let's get started with Fake You Out by Ghastly and Barely Alive. Ghastly's house is actually super underrated. Like, I know he makes the dubstep, the feature bass, but I like his house the most. I think he's really good at it. What? Some bloody beat roost action going on. Oh, it's a transition track too? Right? Yeah. Huh. Damn, he's got a little bit of everything. Many things I like about that song, but I'll keep it to two main points. First of all, I loved the fact that it went with a breaks approach as far as the drum pattern went. It worked out really well in this song. I think it made it much more danceable than some of the trap elements in the song. And then also, I really liked how it was a transition from 128 BPM to suddenly 150 BPM towards the end there. Gonna be very interesting to hear this track live and just see how the crowd responds to that sudden switch up. But overall, I think it'll really go great. I think the song has a great tempo, great energy, and the lead is just super crazy to listen to. Next up is Forever by Ekali, Medasin featuring Elohim. Elohim is like in 3 of these songs on this playlist. She's going ham. Huh. Okay. I wish the drums were a little bit more prominent. During the more dancey sections of the song, I didn't find myself moving as much as I would have liked, and I'm gonna point to the snare, perhaps. Even though you don't necessarily need to go with that typical flume snare sound, I did notice that the snare in the song was just not that noticeable, and because of that, I think I just wasn't really rocking back and forth like I like to do with these sort of down-tempo songs, so maybe that was the element that was missing, I'm not sure. There's a lot of great elements in the song, however, when it comes to dance music, drums are almost everything. Next up is Long Distance by Hood Boy. Oh, yes. Oh, here we go. Those chords already with the filter. And there's a piano too. Yo. This is something to get excited about, guys. I don't know. Hood Boy. All right, I'm super excited about this joint in many ways. Chords, piano, sample, the drums, sequencing came together and just makes a low-key bop. I know that's not gonna be everyone's favorite cup of tea because it is a little bit more low energy than, you know, the Ghastly track we heard earlier or whatever, but just the whole song is just really infectious in my book, and it's one of the few songs that I don't think you can ever put a vocal on it. It's just perfect as it is. Definitely one of my favorites. Next up is the Knife Party's remix of Blood Sugar by Pendulum. Alright, this is the original song. I don't know much Pendulum, but I know this is a part of the song. Oh no. I like how they added in the hi-hats like it was gonna do something. Now, I know Knife Party makes more just straightforward aggressive music from time to time, but this is a whole new level of just really just way too simple, straightforward music. Even the builds, even the interlude in between the 2 drops, everything just seemed either rushed or just not given a lot of consideration, so huge skip on this song, very underwhelming. Next up is Better Not by Louis the Child featuring Wafia. Very tropical, almost Caribbean perhaps. First note, this album cover looks very similar to Run Up by Major Lazer. Just an observation. Second, I think if you're a big Louis the Child fan, I think you'll get along with the song. I don't think they necessarily did anything that wowed me too much in the song. Just a very simple, straightforward pop dance song. Not much else to say. Next up is Vincent's remix of Square One by Grand Theft and Max. Woo! Oh! Yeah, Vincent? This song reminds me quite a bit of Boombox Cartel's music from about a year ago. So if you're a huge trap head, this is definitely one of the best trap remixes of a song so far this year. As far as that banger festival energy goes, big fan of this song. Next up is One Nation Under Lasers by Data Life. Very 2013 sounding. Oh, very interesting. I like everything that's going on with this song, except I don't think the melody is necessarily the best that I've heard. The song's actually, in my mind, a combination between Mammoth, the legendary 2013 Big Out song, and also Kick Out the Epic by Data Life itself. The underlying bass and the double snare hit before the drop, very Data Life, but then the lead with that slight detune remind me a lot of Mo Guy's sound. I want to like this song a lot actually because I do like the style. However, I don't know if the melody is necessarily my favorite, and there's not a lot of arps or other elements going on in the song that would really try to change my mind on that. Next up is Necessary by Fancy Folks, Kid, and Wong Nebula. Alright, a little reggae. Needs more Jamaican dancehall horns. This is Future House Reggae. I think Fancy Folks is just a duo that does vocals. I think Kid did the production on this song for the most part. And that makes a lot of sense because he did used to do that Future House sound a lot before he moved on to the other more down-tempo style. And actually I was a really big fan of his future-based stuff before he moved over. However, this is probably my least favorite version of that. There just wasn't a lot of excitement to the whole song, to be honest, and I couldn't imagine people that are really into reggae accepting the song too much either. So overall, I'm pretty disappointed in the song. However, I don't think the song was really made for me. Next up is Rez's remix of I Could Be Anything by The Glitch Mob. I could be anything. Huh. Ooh, that's very Glitch Mobby. Nice. Once this is an anti-drop, then I'll be pretty disappointed. Rez definitely is sticking to her original style on this song. Nothing too out of the ordinary. Sequence very, very straightforward. And also the drop itself was just very simple and just wasn't too catchy off the jump. I think Elihim's vocals really shined really well in the song, but the production itself didn't really wow me. So I think I'm gonna skip this one. Next up is The Drive by Matroda. Huh. Nice. Ooh. The second the song came on, it was super recognizable Matroda sound. However, a lot of the elements in the song just seemed very original even for him, especially that percussion, and then on top of that, the second half of each drop. There's a nice sub wobbling in the background that I thought was super, super juicy. This is a great bass house song, definitely one of my favorites. Next up is Fucking Shit Up by Busta Rhymes and Destructo.
Destructo, let's go.
Busta Rhymes is kind of making a comeback. It's kind of funny. I don't really like his flow too much. This is not a house song. I was expecting to drop for like 2 minutes there. This isn't a dance song. My bad. Pretty flat hip hop song. The beat was very simple. Kick drum just didn't have the sauce, and neither did Busta Rhymes. So big skip on the song. Next up is Anthem by Hardwell, Stevie Aoki, and Chris. Woo! Ultra! Huh. It's kind of not bad. This is exactly what Stevie Aoki Hardwell music would be like though. This lead sounds like a violin type sound you'd make in Serum. I can definitely hear Stevie Aoki's influence on the song, and that's a good thing because I don't usually hear the Stevie Aoki in a lot of songs we've been hearing lately on this channel. So it's definitely not the best Hardwell song, however, not a bad Stevie Aoki song. The vocal was super extra. Big house drop, nice and aggressive sounds. I can't be too mad at it. However, just because Hardwell is a legend and I expect more out of him, I'm gonna give the song and overall just a thumbs down. Not a huge fan. Next up is Bailando by Nitti Gritti. I have no clue what type of drop we're getting right now. Huh. Ooh. Yep. Haha. Nice. Woo! What? Oh, Nitti Gritti. Yup. Haha. And I can't help to smile at this part of the song. Very cute. Yup. Really just showing how diverse and all the different drops you can do and working with a very interesting sample. Because the sample is so unique and also the drops, the whole song is just a big surprise, very fun to hear. Nitti Gritti is really starting to have a solid discography, a lot of songs that I really like. So shout out to Nitti Gritti. Surprisingly, I'm actually a pretty big fan of the song. Next up is Finest Hour by Cash Cash and A Beer. Ooh! Yep. Cash Cash is doing what they do. Yep. I love the vocal lead on top. Little jazz. Just keep it bounce. Whoa, that was very similar to Zed. What? Huh. For the first minute of the song, I was actually a really big fan. I really liked the piano ballad sound that it had. It reminded me a lot of other Cash Cash anthems that I really like. However, as the song went on, I started picking up more and more details that made the song really remind me of Stay by Zed. The snares to the build up, the horns in the drop itself and the lead synth. There's just a lot of elements that really remind me of that song, so it kind of hurts it that I don't feel like the song is as original. I was just hoping it to be. However, I do think it's kind of a copycat of that song. I do think the implementation is good enough to give it a thumbs up. Next up is Lasers by I.O. Very trancey. Huh! Yup. This is sexy. Yes! Honestly, this is a very cool blend of trance and really dark industrial house. Psytrance is getting a little overplayed now. They're gonna need to start changing it up to something more dark and techno like this. So props to I.O. for being ahead of the curve. I really like this song. Next up is Frustration by Must Die. I can feel the frustration. Ugh. I don't know if I can do it. Very, very dirty dubstep track by Must Die. Almost too dirty for me to listen to in everyday life. Well, I do think the bass design is pretty phenomenal in this song. Must Die always does a great job in that department. But, however, if you're a huge bass head, I can see the song definitely fitting in your catalog. So, while I do think the song is good, I just don't think it's for me. Next up is Restless by Robotaki. Ooh! Yes! Hey! Nice. Super smooth track by Robotaki. I liked the saws a lot. Very jazzy, swingy song. Not much to say about anything wrong with it. So I'm gonna say it's one of my favorites instead. Next up is Shallow's remix of Problems by Petite Biscuit and Lido. I mentioned I was a big fan of this original, so let's see how this stacks up. Yeah. It's very similar to the original. So this is more of like a flip than an actual remix, I'd say. It takes a lot of elements from the original song, especially those chords in the actual drop. I can't say if this is necessarily better than the original, nor would I say that if you're a fan of the original, you wouldn't like the remix version. So while I do think this is a more fun and peppier version of the original song, it didn't necessarily give enough new elements for me to really be super excited about this song. However, if it's not broke, don't fix it, and that's exactly what I think Shallow's motto on this song was. The last song is The Riddle by Bassjackers. Alright, why did the volume really drop suddenly? Why is this so quiet? Not a bad break switch up. Actually, from a production standpoint, I actually think this is one of Bassjackers' least impressive songs. The volume on some of the different instruments in the song just seemed a little off to me, and the drop sounded like a Dimitri Vegas kind of song, which personally just isn't my favorite type of big house. Pretty lukewarm on the song, but I can see some big house fans actually liking it. Alright, now it's time for my favorite songs of the week. So in no particular order, number 1, Fake You Out by Ghastly and Barely Alive. Really just Ghastly executing on his house style with the horns and some interesting breaks and drum patterns, and then just Barely Alive having that super aggressive and loud sound. I can see this being very big at Coachella coming up this weekend, so I'm excited to see how people react to that song there. Next is Long Distance by Hood Boy. Nice funky house song. I really still can't get over how smooth the vocal sample is over it. Just super gluey, just a very nice hook. Next is Lasers by I.O. Definitely the best trance techno song we heard this week. Just a great underground energy to the song that I really enjoy. Next is Vincent's remix of Square One by Grand Theft and Max. Definitely gonna be one of the bigger trap anthems this summer, and rightfully so because it's a really dope song. Lastly, Bailando by Nitti Gritti. Definitely one of the more interesting songs that was pulled off very well on the show. Just a very fun song and something I definitely want to keep listening to because I think there's a lot of elements to pick apart here. Then for the worst songs of the week, first of all, Blood Sugar remix by Knife Party is definitely one of the worst Knife Party songs I've ever listened to, and usually I'm not that picky with my Knife Party stuff. However, this song was just really underwhelming. Number 2, Fucking Shit Up by Destructo and Busta Rhymes. While this isn't necessarily a dance song, I don't think that the hip-hop people are really gonna be picking this up. Maybe it will go in the clubs, but I just really don't think so. Number 3, Necessary by Fancy Folks and Kids. There's just not too much to love about the song in my opinion, and quite a bit to be a little bit confused about. So those were my favorites and my least favorites. What was your guys' favorites of the week? Did I miss any songs? Comment below if I did. If you enjoyed the video, remember to like and subscribe. This has been a Space Jump Friday First reaction for April 13th. I'll see you guys next time.